Hello and welcome to Sarah's Joyful Journey. I'm Sarah Joy. I'm so excited to be sitting down with you on yet another week has passed. This past week has been very exciting. I went to my first Keto conference. I went to Keto Orlando Summit. It was so much fun and I met so many people and had a fantastic time. I highly recommend, if you've never been to a conference, you gotta go to a conference. Just the overwhelming positivity and the encouragement and everything is so worth it. Just meeting people who are like-minded is just fantastic. All right, so I will be talking more about the Keto Orlando Summit as we jump in. Let's go ahead and talk about my weigh-in. Last week I was 209.7. This week I was 209.9. I'm okay with that. I had, like I said, a busy weekend. I was staying hydrated, but I wasn't drinking as much as I normally do, so that played a role. I also had an unintentional, well, I should say an unplanned fast. I didn't plan for it. I wasn't hungry, so I ate on Thursday morning around 11 o'clock. I got a little meal in and I was nervous. So I didn't eat again and the conference started on Thursday evening. So as the conference got closer, the more nervous I got, so the less settled my stomach was, which meant that I really just didn't want to eat. And I didn't eat all day Friday until like Friday night. I think it was after the conference on Friday night, which ended a little early because they have a gala and I didn't have a ticket for the gala. So I didn't eat until like 7 o'clock Friday evening. So it was 30 something hours where I didn't eat anything and I was totally fine. I am not a person who likes to plan a fast because as soon as you tell me I can't eat, I'm starving, even though that's not actually true. So I don't do fasting of any kind. I just listen to my body and let it tell me when it's hungry. And sometimes when I was coming off the Manjaro and before I came off the Manjaro, I was eating even though I wasn't hungry, just for the simple fact that if I didn't do that, I would have gone weeks without eating, and that was not okay. So I did force myself to eat at that point, but now that I'm off the medication and I'm doing well, I will not eat when I'm not hungry. So today I ate this morning a couple times and I made these really huge hamburger patties for lunch. They were half lamb, half ground beef. They were so good. I chopped them with some of my homemade butter mayo and it was fantastic. So I had that and that was pretty much my meal today. Did I have anything else? Oh, I had a couple egg life wraps with pastrami in them for breakfast. So nothing huge, but I was done eating by about 2 o'clock. I'm not gonna eat probably again tonight. I find I do a little bit better if I eat in the morning and the afternoons lately. That's not always possible. Sometimes I do have to eat in the afternoons and in the evenings, but on my days off when I can choose when I want to eat, that's my preferred mode, is I eat breakfast and lunch and then skip dinner. All right, school this week. I had a major paper to do. I wrote it last night. I had a page done before the conference started and I have no idea what I wrote. I read the research. I was just kind of throwing things together on the page. Matt read it. He said it seemed logical. I tweaked everything. I read through it as best as I could and it seemed like it made sense. But I still don't know what I wrote. I think that one thing that I struggled with this assignment was that she wanted a lot of different points and she wanted thorough explanations of things, but gave us a 6-page max page limit. You can't explain things in great detail when you have like 7 different points that you need to make in 5 pages. So it is what it is. It was probably not my best work, but the assignment is done. I did it correctly as far as I could tell. I did have a small freak out this morning that I didn't format it properly. I did, because I set up my paper before yesterday. And so that was interesting. But this week is week 11 for this term. It's the last week of the term. I have a discussion board to do, and then I have a journal assignment that I need to catch up on that I have been ignoring. So now I get to play catch up this week, but it's all good. It's a 10-point assignment, so it's not a huge assignment. It doesn't have to be hugely detailed. It'll just be pretty easy. I just got to sit down and do it. And this week, since we only have a discussion board, I have plenty of time. So that is school. All right, I think that's pretty much covers it for that, what has happened that way this week. So Keto Orlando conference, because this is what I'm going to be talking mostly about. So again, the conference started on Thursday night. I was super excited. I was super nervous. And of course, Thursday evening comes and I had a new outfit. I was looking fantastic. I was feeling confident, but nervous. And at one point I looked down, and as I'm going to pick up Matt and Emma, and I realized there is the seam on my brand new shirt has like frayed apart. And I was like, this is not cool. I do not have time to go home and get a new shirt. I had a sweater, but I'm like, I really don't want to wear a shirt that is splitting on the side. I have no idea why it's split. The shirt fit well, everything fit well. Maybe it was just poorly made. And so I started wanting to cry and melt down. Like, I just want to get there. I just want to enjoy this. I don't want to, yeah, she knows I'm talking about it. Hi, baby. Go lay down. Can you go lay down? Thank you. So Matt's like, well, we'll go to the mall. We'll go do something. I'm like, I don't want to go to the mall. It takes too much time to park and go through all the stores. I don't want to go to the mall. I want to go, and I want to go in one place and just get a shirt and go. So we decided to go to a Target. Go into Target. There is literally nothing. And I'm like, okay. So we go to a second store. Can't find anything. And I'm not being super picky at this point. I'm trying to stick in with the theme, which was tropical. And I'm trying not to go for something completely solid because I was wearing black shorts. So I go into store number 3. Can't find anything. Store number 4. Still can't find anything. Ended up going to Walmart. At this point, it's torrential downpouring. I am on the verge of just totally giving up and crying because I'm so anxious and overwhelmed, and the thought of having to find a shirt was really extra stressing me out. It's an autism thing. It's just plans changed at the last minute, and I was just struggling to cope with that. But we did find a shirt at Walmart. There was one. It was the only one that worked. It was the only one that was semi-cute, and it was one size too big, but I bought it anyway and said, it's better than nothing. Put on the shirt and went to the conference. Once I got to the conference and I met up with my friend Nancy, and I was able to settle down a little bit and calm down a little bit, which was helpful. So I sat and I listened to Benazati talk, and that was amazing. I was able to get his book, Keto Flex, which I have not started yet, but I will. And then we had a little social hour for after that, and that was really, really fun. It was just all of us gathered around sitting at tables. So we sat with a bunch of people, and I got to see people that I had met previously, like my friend Robin, and then I met other people from the Mighty Networks for Two Crazy Ketos, and just had a fabulous time. People were sharing their stories. So I decided I was going to get very brave and stood up in front of the room of 200 people and shared my story on how I came to keto and what keto has done for me and allowed me to do and helped me correct with my mental health and everything like that. I didn't say my mental health is perfect. It will probably never be perfect, just because, you know, I deal with autism and ADHD. So I have impacts from those, and I will always have impacts of those. Can I make those symptoms better and reduce a lot of those symptoms? Absolutely. Can I keep my depression at bay? Absolutely. Is my anxiety non-related to autism much better? Absolutely. I still have it when it comes to autism. It's something that I have to live with for the rest of my life, and I'm okay. I manage it pretty well most of the time. Most of the time, I am not perfect. I have definitely got room for improvement, like everybody does. But that was fantastic and fun. And then my husband came and picked me up. And then Friday morning, he dropped me off, and we did day 2 of the conference. I met even more people, had even more wonderful conversations. And I'll go into more details about the talks and stuff in just a moment, because I know you guys are all excited to hear about those. But it was fantastic to just get to sit and build new friendships and new relationships and get to know people and connect with people who live in Florida, who don't live in Florida, but we all have a common interest, and our common interest is keto. And then it was the same thing on Saturday. It was just another great day of socializing and getting to talk to people and listening to great speakers. I am going to look at my notes. One of my things that was the most impactful for me, and I got overwhelmed by it on Friday night, before we ended for the break so they could do the gala. There was a talk that I wanted to go to. It was a Q&A with Dave Feldman, and I did have to step out because I was feeling very emotional and very overwhelmed in a positive way. It was positive. It was just, I was overstimulated. There was so much going on, all the lights, everything, and I just needed to take a moment to step back. And so I went to the restroom, and then I still was feeling like I didn't want to go sit in a whole room full of people. So I sat and I talked with Chris from My Networks, and I sat and talked with Miriam from Keto Chow, and we just had a great conversation, and it just allowed me to still be present and still participate, but in a way that worked better for me in that very moment. So I had a blast. But like I said, my biggest takeaway was that I finally found a space where I belong. Friendships have never been easy for me. I don't always understand all the dynamics. I think I learned more as I got older, and they are a bit better for me and easier for me to maintain. My biggest downfall is I don't understand all the time how much contact is too much contact. Or I have the extreme opposite where with my best friend, I could go months without talking to her, but she's the same type of person, so it like works for us because we'll talk after we haven't talked for months, and we pick up right where we left off, and all is good. I know from doing some research that neurotypical people think that if you're not in contact with them, that you're no longer in the forefront of their mind, which is not always true for me. I just get busy and I forget. So I do have some new opportunities to flex some new friendship skills, and I'm super excited about it. And it's nice to finally feel like I belong. There's a difference between belonging and fitting in. Fitting in means you're changing yourself to fit in with a group of people. And I never really fit in either. I tried to fit in. Autism kind of, now I know it's autism looking back. Now I don't even bother to try and fit in. I'm me. I still do masking to a point because sometimes I have to put on a braver face when I'm totally scared and don't want to talk. So I use it to a positive benefit most of the time. So that was fantastic, just to feel like I belonged in this space, and it's a space where I am very happy and I love the fact that when you go to a conference, it's not about how much weight you've lost or haven't lost, or how far you're in your journey, or if you're just starting out. It's all about, we have common ground and common interests, and we're building those relationships. We're all gathering information that we are learning to apply to our lives, to live our lives creating the best version of ourselves. So it was awesome. It was awesome. All right, so I shared that. So I'll tell some takeaways from Ben Azadi's talk, because his was the first one that I listened to and the only one that I took notes for. It's not that the others were not good. I just was more interested in really listening to what they said instead of listening and writing. So I made a few notes that I think were pretty powerful. The biggest thing that I noticed that Benazati said is that when you're on a journey, especially within keto and life, it's 95% of everything is your mindset. And I totally agree with that. 5% is strategy. So when we approach that from a keto perspective, everything, all the issues that you deal with food, it's not just the food itself. It's dealing with the feelings, the emotions that come along with that. It's dealing with, why are you eating if you're not hungry? You know, you're trying to break old habits and patterns. One pattern that was exhibited for me was a little bit of binge eating and definitely using food as a comfort because my mom displayed that. And she's still working on trying to break those habits. I am still working on trying to break those habits. I have come a really long way. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. I will never be perfect. I will always, to some degree, have to battle that. But what I do when I think that I need to go and eat and I'm not hungry, I ask myself a few questions. I ask myself, why do you want to eat right now? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Because sometimes I just start with water, because oftentimes I will be thirsty instead of actually hungry, and water will fix that. I ask myself, am I bored? Am I stressed? Am I feeling emotional? Is there some emotional reason why I'm wanting to eat? And once I figure out that's what is the trigger, I just think it through and I go do something else instead of going and actually eating. So once you know what causes it, you can work on whatever that issue is. I heard someone say, and I didn't hear who it was, but someone says that we store our emotions in our fat. I don't know how true that really is. I want to do some research on it because it's just a fascinating subject. But if it is true, we do store like emotions and stuff in our fat. As we are losing fat and we are losing weight, we are going to have to deal with those emotions because those emotions are going to come up. So I think it's logical from that standpoint. But like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of research into it, but it is something that I think I might try to look into and see how true that is. So like I said, fixing my mindset has been the biggest thing. And then you do have to have a bit of strategy. You do have to plan. You know, I like to plan. I don't do it as much as I used to, but I planned my meals at the beginning a lot. I tend to eat the same things on repeat all the time. I keep it simple. I follow the KISS principle. So for me, the KISS principle is keep it simple, sweetheart. I know you can say other words on there, but I am kind to myself, or at least I'm trying to be kind to myself, and I'm learning to appreciate this body that I have. So I keep it simple. We eat a lot of ground beef, we eat a lot of hamburgers, we eat a lot of eggs and bacon, we have steaks, we have chuck roasts. It's pretty much on repeat. Every once in a while, I'll want something fancier, and I might make a recipe like a month or so ago. I made fish taco bowls because I was just in the mood for fish tacos. So I'll do that every once in a while. And then last week we made meatballs. I made meatballs, and I don't normally make them because they're labor intensive. But I made them because they were a great way to meal prep some food so that Matt and I had it during the conference, and I made sure that, you know, I had bacon and stuff made and stuff like that so that we could just have meals and ready to go and grab what we needed when we needed it. So I don't do a whole lot of meal planning at this point in the game because I literally just rinse and repeat. All right. Another thing that was really powerful from Benazati's talk was he says that you have to follow your purpose. So you've got to share your story and make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that is not so much in regards to food. It's in regards to how you are living your life. You have a purpose for your life. You need to find out what your purpose is in your life. And the other thing that he said that I thought was amazing was he said that when you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. What happens when you squeeze us under pressure? Because when you squeeze us under pressure, what do we exhibit? Like the orange, when it's squeezed under pressure, it's going to give you orange juice. So it really made me pause and stop and think, you know, what do I want to come out when I am squeezed under pressure? One, I definitely want to make sure that I am showing love and kindness, and to a bit, determination and strength. I want to make sure when I'm squeezed and I face that pressure that I'm not wanting to give up. I did have a moment last night where I was so tired, I was frustrated, and I got an email, and then I had to register for the first residency for school. They didn't give good directions on how to sign up for it. The first session that was available, I had to sign up by today, and it was for like later this week. And I'm like, really? They gave us no time. The second session starts on my birthday and it's in Atlanta. And I'm like, I have no way to get to Atlanta. We have one car. That would give me like no time to plan, to reserve a hotel, to plan things out. And then they had one, which is a virtual session in October. This is the session that I've chosen. I do not know if it's the session I'm going to. I couldn't register. When I finally figured out how to register and I got through the point of registration and clicking everything, it says I'm not eligible for this session. So I had to email my academic advisor, and I have not heard back yet. So hopefully I'll hear back by tomorrow, because I have no idea what session I'm going to be in, where it's going to be, when it's going to be. I know it won't be the first one, but I'm really hoping they don't send me to Atlanta for 4 days, because I have no idea how I'm going to get there, where I'm going to stay when I get there, or anything. So I'm trying not to think about it too much, because the frustration would be evident and I will immediately start crying and potentially getting very upset because I have no time to plan. And I am a planner. Planning makes me feel comfortable and confident. I am spontaneous. That's the ADHD side of me, and I can be spontaneous, but for the most part, I am a planner. My dad used to pick on me every time we would go through a military move, because I'd have everything done and well planned like 4 months in advance. He goes, "You are the most organized and well planned person out there." I'm not early. I just like to do it early, because then I know what I'm doing and where I'm going and how things are usually gonna go. They don't always go as planned, but that's life. So yeah, I want to work on making sure that when I'm under pressure, that I'm exhibiting kindness and love, and I'm showing that I'm continuing to share my story and continuing to grow and learn and encourage people. He also talked about participating in vitamin G daily, which vitamin G is gratitude. So he definitely challenged us to spend a moment in the morning, in the afternoon, several times a day, thinking about what we are grateful for. It is something I do need to start working on. I am definitely grateful that I have the ability to move around much easier than I used to. I'm learning to appreciate this new body that I have, or this new version of a body. It's still the same body. It's the same body I've always had. So that was really powerful. I really enjoyed Nisha's talk. She talked, of course, about N=1, and that is a focus, because even though we're all eating a version of the proper human diet, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa, or it may not work for somebody else down the road. So we've got to figure out and determine what works for best for our bodies. And while we can share what we eat, we cannot take that as gospel for sake. That it's going to work for you. Just because it works for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Feel free to try it. Absolutely try it, because you don't know if it works until you try it. The other thing she said is you can't try it for just a few days and expect results. You have to give it that good old college try. That was something that a lot of the speakers talked about. You have to give it that 30, 60, and ideally 90 days to see the results. So take my strength training that I'm focusing on. That's my big goal for this month as well. It was my goal for last month, and I missed working out last week because it was crazy busy with school and everything and didn't get done. So today I was unmotivated and I didn't want to do it. I did get up and do it. I didn't do it as long as I wanted to. I did a 20-minute leg workout and I did a 1.5 mile walk on the treadmill. So I got it done. Could have gone further, could have done more, but that's all the effort I had today to give it. So I gave it 100% effort, and that's good enough. It has to be. So I want to move forward knowing that I'm not going to be listening to just anybody and everybody. I'm going to listen to those that I connect with, that I identify with, and that I feel give me good information. But another one of the speakers, I believe it was Dr. Tony Hampton, said we need to question. We need to question doctors. We need to question our doctor. We need to question what information is being presented even here on YouTube. If you hear something and you don't know what it is, go take the time, look it up, research it, learn about it, figure it out for yourself, and make your own assessment of it. So yeah, we've got to turn down the noise. We've got to be active in our journeys by sharing our story. We've got to question. All those things are so meaningful and so powerful. And I cannot wait to go back next year. I'm just checking my notes, making sure I've covered everything that I want to cover. And one thing that really kept getting brought to my mind as I listened and I talked and I just associated with everyone was my mission statement. I didn't realize when I sat down how powerful of a mission statement this was going to be and how much it was going to play a role in my life and how I want to move forward. It is definitely a passion of mine now, and it's something that I want to keep working towards. It's part of the reason why I started this channel. It's part of the reason why I am going to school and I am working towards my PhD in health psychology, because I want to use that information to help. But my mission statement, if you've never heard it before, is to inspire women to improve their health and empower them to live full and active lives while creating a community of support and kindness. It was just fantastic because, of course, we're having, my friend Nancy and I are doing a meetup in the end of September. We have a great turnout. Unfortunately, we are at max capacity for this first meetup. I had no idea how many people would actually want to come. We have a great group coming. I'm already inspired to do another one. Probably won't do it again for a year. So, but it would be a great one to have like set and ready to go and be talking about, to potentially meet other people at Keto Orlando and then have them be able to come to a meetup. So I'll have to play around with some ideas for next year, but we've got people coming. So that is creating that community and it's building those relationships and that support. Sharing my story helps to inspire people. I also get inspired by hearing other people's stories. I love hearing their stories just as much as I enjoy sharing mine. Well, I enjoy sharing mine, but it's not always easy. So I look forward to all those things, and I hope to learn how to empower people. If I can change, you can change. It doesn't mean it's easy, but you can do it. We are created to do tough things. We can do tough things. We need our community, and we need support, and we need love, and we need kindness to do it, but we can do hard things. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this video right on that note so you guys can think about that, and I will be back with you next week. Bye for now.